doing is we're going through all of the, well, not necessarily all the podcasts, but we're taking different topics and different points from all the things that we've gone through, and we're gonna have like discussion on all the shit, and we're gonna bring random people up from the audience to talk about it with, like, not one, but all like different people at different times, and gonna yap basically about shit with unbiased opinions, except they are actually probably still gonna be biased, but unbiased opinions which are based on all the shit we learned, and Dragon has loads to yap on, so he knows exactly what he's gonna say, bro. Do you wanna?
I'll let you start. I'll let you start before.
You wanna start with the Expanse concept shit? Like, I think this is a good idea. Like, I just was looking at this, bro.
Right. So, I'll be waiting. Okay, that's fine. Right. So basically, guys, if y'all have heard of Albion Online before, they do a very nice concept, which is why they got so popular. And the concept about faction warfare and guild warfare is that there is a separate district for factions to partake in. So, for example, you'd have Core Space, which is the current game we have now, and then the gates, which are currently not used, would be an area to the Expanse. So, from the Citadel, you'd be able to travel to one of the 9 gates, which will then allow you to proceed to the Expanse, which is purely just faction territory. Each region can be claimed by factions if they do one of the following, which is capture an outpost, a stronghold, or a resource point in the region. Capturing outposts and strongholds, at start, they'll be defended by pirate NPCs, which will vary in waves. So you might see an outpost, and that'll be defended by maybe some fighters. Might need 4 to 5 people to actually completely wipe out the outpost and claim it for your faction. If you go through the waves, and you defeat all of the 3 waves, which will be fighters, some frigates, corvettes, and it might be like a destroyer at the end, a boss fight, then your faction will claim it, and then that same system will happen, but the NPCs will be for your faction, with your faction skin on, and people will have to contest that. Now, you may wonder, why would you want to have that? Why would you even want to capture it in the first place if it's just region control? Well, you will also be able to get a chest from this, or like a crate, which will be delivered once every 24 hours to your outpost, which will have an hour cap before you can open it, which will give other factions time to claim the outpost. Inside the crate, there's varied resources and rewards from either a few resources, maybe a ship or 2, but then it could vary from a high tier crate, which is more rarer, which could maybe have a destroyer, a few 100,000 credits, and it'll entice factions to risk their ships and risk all their assets to capture these outposts for the region.
And you guys can just look in the chat for the fucking image of it as well.
Yeah, you can look in the announcement and see what we're on about, because you can see the image. But yeah, it's a nice little concept, which I think Albion have done really well, and I think can easily be transversed into Starscape. And another thing with the Expanse is that you won't be able to see which players are in your system. So you'll only be able to see a range of players. So for example, you might see 0 to 6 players. If there's over 6 players, you might see 6 to 20. So you at least know if there's faction warfare happening. But you won't be able to know which faction it is or who they are until you've met them in combat, of course.
I thought it was like a super fucking cool idea. Like, just imagine, right? Like, you got all these gates, yeah? You got all these motherfucking gates, and they don't go anywhere. And a lot of people were speculating, like, what, they're going to go to different systems and there's going to be different things. No, just make it so they go to a bigger circle with all these systems that people fight over and can actually own. So instead of dealing with all the bullshit, trying to own stuff in, like, the fucking core systems where the faction warfare happens and all the NPC shit, keep all that bullshit, whatever, and have the guild content outside in a bigger circle, like a bigger zone, like. What do you guys think about that? You know, say in the chat, like, what do you think about having that?
We'll bring one person to come on and ask about this topic. So say in the chat now, and if you say a good idea, we'll take you on the stage.
Yeah, and man, we'll talk about it with somebody. Talk in the chat, see what you guys
have, like, controversial. You might have a controversial opinion about it. You might think that maybe it's not such a good idea. Yeah, maybe you think do you think it's gay? Do you think there's other way to go about it?
Yeah, bro, we want to hear all the yap, man. That's what we want to hear. So
we're not going to just talk about this. We will go into other features about Starscape. Yeah. Just the first sort of concept. Wondering what you guys think about it.
Wouldn't it not work because of Roblox? I actually think that's a good point. Like, player stations were obviously a thing that wouldn't have been able to work. Because imagine playing player battles with stations and stuff. But then I think about stuff like faction warfare and I think about destroying the stations and they blow up, and it's not really that laggy, bro. And
I think it's possible if it's
you know,
monitored right. So the reason
think
how
it can be done.
Starscape can function now is because each system is separated by a different server, and because of that, it allows for Starscape to function. Like if it was just one big game, then no. But because each area is optimized to the point where you can't see the other system, then it should be okay.
And imagine different
And again,
areas
it
have
shouldn't be
different
all in one
resources,
system.
and like you kind of want to take it because of the resource production there. Like, imagine there's special orders. You can only get them into guild zones, and you need to be part of. Like, it would encourage faction content. It would encourage people to join factions, and it would increase the activity, get people more like taking the game serious. They'd be fighting over resources. It'd get like the motivation up. And then there's no insurance in guild space, so it has to be based on faction insurance if anything's going to happen, and make stuff worth it.
Yeah, that's the only thing, Tom, I did say about this before, is that the player base wasn't there for it. However, it could expand the player base for the concept. Of course, this is like a big thing, which I think a lot of people would be really up for seeing. And it's just, it wouldn't work unless it was publicized right. This is why I wish the Patreon was still working, because he could have advertised Starscape with the money.
Yeah, it's definitely like
That's
a bit
why-
of a gamble, but obviously we don't have enough people now, but we think that if we expand the capabilities of what you can do and make the game fun again, more people will play again, and the player base will grow. So
of course, the current issues in the Starscape need to be fixed, and more content updates need to happen. But if Keth kept his dev team, man, it definitely could have stayed on this way. But either way, it's a cool concept. Which you never know, Keth might watch the video, might see this.
yeah, man, what's this? Only 2 people talking, but don't be lazy, watching your porn. Come on, type some shit in the fucking messages.
But does anyone want to come on stage and talk about it? That's the real question.
Yeah,
if not, then we'll move on.
Don't worry, bro. Don't be shy. Come on, get on this goddamn dry podcast. It's super dry.
It's like the first time we're allowed
gonna wet you.
people to come on, man.
Very silent people.
Yeah, really, bro.
Need a
What the
mic.
hell? Dead
Need a
ass.
mic though.
Yeah, no, you need a mic. Yeah, you're not getting on here without a mic. Yeah, you get fucking.
If you start saying racial slurs, we're skipping the topic. I swear to God, we're not doing this today, guys.
So, I guess these
No,
are.
I'm not
Hey.
think Arkakas is.
You're up,
Because he's
man.
a leader of Bubble.
Sure,
Anyway,
bro.
nah, I'm not gonna say a lot. I think I heard this idea, a similar idea from Arctic once, about the systems beyond the gates would be the ones you do not see before you. Like, when you're entering the gate system, a system before you cannot see the gate system unless you're in the system adjacent to it, right?
Mm.
Yes.
And so their idea was how the systems beyond the gates would work in similar way. That you do not see systems after. Well, that was their idea for the Expanse, as you call it.
It's like
Would
for
I
example,
make
you wouldn't
it
be
a
able to see
faction
it.
territory? I'm not sure. I think what we have now is quite sufficient.
You think, but the game
Well,
died though with the
for-
current content. That's the thing. Like,
It's
so,
definitely for a
Uh,
wider player base. The concept's
the
definitely
current
for a wider player base.
Maybe not. Totally, I wouldn't. There's too less content now. Unless you want to add player stations with all the
it's not even that. Like, imagine, you know the way the NPC territory system works, and they can take territory based off whatever they
Yeah.
blow up with fucking generators.
Yeah.
Well, imagine that, but for players, and instead of taking generators, you capture planets in the solar system or something, and you can mine there and build bases on the planets and
Yeah, careful
Whatever.
need to work a lot.
stuff like that. Yeah, but that's the
Yeah,
kind of
That's like
idea.
a later thing. That's like a later.
But
thing,
even at
that's
the
what I'm
start,
saying.
it could literally just be you capture a flag in the system, and you own the system.
It's
But
based
first
off
you
like
need
a game
to
called
make
Albion.
the flag, right? The idea was that players would need to make a flag, and only then, when there are sufficient amount of flags, players can take the territory or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Make it no man's land by destroying the beacon.
I think, it would be cool as fuck. If you just imagine looking at the guild map and it's all these wars going on, and when you hover over,
but
there's
it
some
would
data
work only
10
if
players.
we had enough content, to be honest.
We have enough content.
Of course, we couldn't just go into that. You need to get a player base, which you need more content updates. You need the game to like improve a bit. But it was just a cool
Plus-
concept which you guys could look into, expand on your opinions on it.
Also,
again-
because you need to add something more intention for players to leave the secure space.
Yeah,
Just reduce the
More
amount of
incentive,
secure
more
systems,
content.
maybe. I
Yeah.
recently played with a player, a long-time player of Starscape, who hardly ever leaves secure. He just hops on sometimes, works with factions, but he isn't a part of one. So it makes me think there are many other players who just stay insecure.
You are right about
yeah.
that. But I think we need to like motivate people to get into the PvP game, and I think forcing them into factions is the way to do
then
it.
surely was a great motivator for people to play uncontested.
Yeah, I think to a
But
degree.
I know what's your take on insurance.
Oh yeah, nah, that's a good idea. Should be. I want to rant on that too. Yeah, I want to talk about how shit insurance is. But first, though, I'm interested. Does Iris have anything to say? Because I do need to go for a slash.
I do not have anything to add.
Do you
to
look at
this.
the? Well, you're looking already. Just take a look at that, bro. You'll get an idea. Well, nah, insurance. Because the thing is, right? I don't think guild stuff could work with insurance. I think that the game would remain.
it
fucking
wouldn't. No.
boring.
In the Expanse, it would be purely like
It
you
has
die.
to be
If you die, you
wild,
die.
wild. Everything's
It is.
wild.
Yeah, it is. It is. It
Yeah.
is. It wouldn't be anything else.
it-
The whole
it-
Expanse would be
it-
wild.
Like, dude, you think
That's
about
crazy.
this. We could actually keep gay insurance. As much as I hate insurance, and I hate insurance, we could keep the gay insurance system in the fucking core if we had this, because there'd be none
Yes.
outside. Do you understand?
Exactly.
I agree.
The only issue I had with it was when I'm making it was, of course, the player base couldn't actually keep up with it. But again, if
Like,
if
it does
Gas puts
fuck the
out
market.
content
I do
updates
think
and
like the
expands
economy is so fucked because, like, you don't lose anything. So yeah, the grinds, when people are grinding, it just builds up and shit gets less valuable, and now nothing. It's not fun to play because everything's free, bro. The thing that makes it fun is the grind, like the thing that makes it hard to get. When you kill someone and that juicy loot, it's not juicy anymore, you know. So I'm getting DMs, bro. Use the messaging thing. All right, I'm not gonna check the DMs.
No, we're not going to use PTS spot, bro.
So
I mean,
your idea could be a quite nice implementation of an end game, right? When players
Yeah,
when
absolutely.
they're finished off in the core, they can start playing outside. Still, the biggest thing I'm worrying about was the travel time.
there wouldn't be that. It'd
That
be through
big
the
of a
gates.
galaxy?
No, it would be through gates. And yeah, I understand that it would be a big travel time from system to system. But that, again, it allows for more people and more content around the game. That's why it's quite difficult. And yeah, it is quite a big area. But however, you could scale it down. Like, for example, the systems could, in turn, like, not actually, but they could visually be further away. And there could be less systems. So you could just have it, the Expanse is like a small area, and you can expand on it if needed. But you could start off of it just being a few hundred systems, maybe. And then if you want to expand it, you can, because it's the Expanse, right? So you can start off with a few hundred systems because it's a small player base. And if it grows, you can just grow the Expanse. It's easy to do. Because there's no extent how big it can go.
My fear with a system like that is that you will have one or two dominant factions which will take over the area, and because you will have a lack of a proper amount of factions.
Yeah, that's
The
absolutely a
incentive
threat.
for
That is.
people. Yeah.
The point is, though, Iras, people think factions are greedy, right? And if you were to get these crates in certain regions every time, a lot of the time it's hard to distribute towards a faction. Because imagine if there's a crate concept where you got resources every so often from your claimed areas, then it would be great. The issue is, the bigger your faction, the more you have to spread amongst your faction. If you're just playing for your faction and you're letting the owner have everything, that's not good enough, because you're risking your loot and you're risking everything for your faction. So players will be greedy. It won't get that big because players are too greedy.
Yeah, like the thing is,
They'll want
for you to
something
be
of their
able
own.
to grow, because Starscape is too complex and intricate for you to be able to get that big without putting in a lot of work. Like, if you wanted to get a super big faction that owns a lot of territory, first you need a lot of members to fight. Now you have to look after those bastards because they're not getting insurance. It's wild PvP.
Exactly.
Shit isn't free. You need to have all your insurance set up. You need to have your daily automated event set up, all your staff like trained. Everything needs to be going good, and that isn't easy, and most people won't be
And
able to do that.
alliances will just target you. If you're the biggest threat on the gameplay, of course, there's not enough player base to combat something like TSC right now. However, if the player base was big enough and it had 1,000 people, that would be enough people to just combat those massive factions. Alliances would form.
Let's
If the
get
Star
Foxio
Sun was
back down,
fighting
by the way.
World,
He's been here.
boom.
Yeah.
Back into the audience.
Yeah.
All right.
My biggest fear still is that you will have a few dominant big factions form. They not inherently factions, but alliances and such, where you have 2 big players with a few big factions in the players, and then the incentive for a singular person to join a smaller faction is way smaller as the single faction.
Lyraz, it's not because that's more loot distributed amongst the smaller factions.
It's hard.
That's
It's
the
too
point.
hard
So
to
if you
run
can
it.
make, it's always a back and forth of greed, man. And no one's gonna want to be in a massive faction because the loot
Yeah, but like
distribution is less.
issue becomes that if you're a small faction, the chance that you're able to get the loot is relatively small.
Yeah, you need to build yourself up. That's definitely
Yeah.
true. You do need
That's
to
why
work on
you've got
yourself.
core space. That's why you've got core space to build up your
Yeah,
guild.
that's
to
right.
build
You
up
can
the
have core
faction,
space
and
too.
then you invest into
But
guild because
think
it's
about
more
it.
profitable and it's
There is
faction
obviously
content.
threat.
What?
There is a threat, Dragon. There is a threat, which is like,
What?
let's say you
What?
get
What?
some retard YouTuber and he comes with his 100k motherfuckers, and
We saw how that happens, guys. They suck. We
yeah,
saw that
they
happen
suck
once.
at the
It's not
game, but they
happening
would
again.
definitely like do some fucking take some shit for a while.
Again, Rockeye, it goes back and forth though.
But
Even
I do
if that
agree. I
happens,
think it would go
alliances
back and
form.
forth. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, exactly. Alliances form, alliances take it over, alliances split because the powerhouses got dropped down
That's
now.
the thing as well.
It's just a constant repeat. It all combats each other. It's a big reliance on the player base and how it plays. However, this concept is great. However, I don't want to yap on it the whole time as much as I'd love to. We need to get through a lot of other things.
We're gonna talk
Which,
about
Rockeye?
solo contents in a minute, but I need to go for a slash. Or like, I need to go for a slash. So you guys yap on whatever.
Yeah, sure. Another thing we could go over is because I did some polls about it before, Araz, is that we could go over a bit about energy system and how energy works right now. So over the last few podcasts, we've had a lot of takes from how energy works, especially in contested, unsecure, etc. And we noticed a big one in contested is the fact that people are allowed to hold their repairs and hold their hull repairs while they're charging in warp. I think we went over this a bit with Lax and how the energy system works, is that it makes it unable and unfair for people to win fights in contested due to the immense energy regen over time during warp. Now, whether or not warp energy should be removed fully during warp is debatable. However, when it comes to at least being halved, I think it's more fair because you're going through warp, you know, it takes up energy to warp. It shouldn't be a constant regen like nothing's happening, especially considering that at the start of it, when you're charging for a warp or you're jumping for a warp, the fact that subsystems, which are meant to be redirecting power to your shields or to your hull to repair it, that's just being taken away. It shouldn't be like that when it's focusing all power to your engines to try and boost you into that warp speed. So if anybody, like perhaps Lax, since you are a contested person, wants to yap on about that, perhaps you have a different take on the matter, whether or not there should be some sort of boundary of how energy works in contested, whether or not it should be viable during warp, or whether you should regain it during warp, if so, how much, etc. If anyone has to take on that and he wants to come up stage and talk about it,
Yeah,
feel
man.
free.
Bro,
I will mention one thing
Go ahead.
related to this. I feel like a system like Energy, which is pretty like core system of the PvP, should not change depending on the system type. So if it's broken in contested but not broken in unsecure or wild, then you find a way to make it not broken in contested, while also changing it for secure, unsecure and wild at the same time.
yeah, I zoned out. I didn't know what he was. I mean, I'm saying I don't whatever. But anyway,
Get that again, Araz.
yeah, the fucking Laxatives. I don't even think he's alive. You know, I think he died.
Live. I mean, yeah, but is anyone going to come and talk about contested at all? Perhaps mainly towards
Yeah, that energy
system,
system, bro. Like, yeah, regen and energy and warp. What do you guys think of that? Come on, like, do you think it's fucking balanced?
just in general, just in general, just like anything
Tell
to
us
do with
about it,
energy,
bro.
whether it's unsecure, whether it's like perhaps disruption, how that works. Any controversy we're able to discuss with you guys, and then have a
Put up
little
your hand if you
controversy
want to
about.
get on. the stage, man. They're all fucking bitches.
Or everyone
I
just
mean,
died.
I
Everyone just
mean,
died.
no, you're not bitches. Sorry, bro. Don't leave. I'm not trying to be mean, you know. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I'm just kidding. I am. But yeah. Well, I guess we're just gonna have to yap on energy. My fucking opinion on energy is it's a load of fucking bollocks. And regening energy in a warp is a load of fucking bollocks. And you shouldn't be able to do that if you're warping because it allows you to cheese. And it's not just in contested. I've been in unsecure, and people, the strategy to kill fighters is back in the day, at least. I don't know if it's still like this now. It probably still is, but it's basically just a warp and regen, warp and regen, warp and regen, warp and regen. When the fighter claps you down to 1%, they just light burn, warp, and regen, warp and regen, and then they fucking using railguns. So they're just eventually gonna get you with the one tap cheese. And I fucking hate railguns, and that's another thing I'm gonna be talking about. Ask comma about energy.
That's fun. But yeah, if you again, and if
Put
you
up
have
your
any
hand,
ideas, it's mainly to do with especially in contested the way it works. Considering there's no disruption in contested, it makes it a lot more difficult for stuff like chasers to be viable. Because when you're chasing a ship, even the chase horizon, it can be there beforehand, but every player knows if they just warp straight away, they can tank all the damage because all the regens are on while they're warping, and they can just warp out the system. They can tank the damage from any destroyer. However, if people start to run and people start to evade, of course it's still possible to kill them if they're stupid, but they can still regen. That takes longer. It takes way too much time than it should. So just, again, energy system in general is just contested as one of them.
Yeah,
So
I
it's a
honestly
very
think
core
contested
thing.
PvP is literally just you're either hunting noobs that don't know what the fuck they're doing, or somebody got bored chasing you and they just rushed you and you killed them. That's honestly like the fucking contested PvP. That's how you get kills there. I mean, well, I just wish you could disrupt people, man. Is that a controversial
Yeah, that's
take?
a whole different topic.
Am I
That's a
finally-
controversial take.
Am I finally gonna get somebody on? Like, what do you guys think
Yeah,
about fucking
well,
contested disruption, though?
Contested disruption, guys. Come on. Somebody has to have a take
Deploying
on that.
bubbles. Imagine you could just drop a bubble, man, in the middle of a battle. Who's gonna run?
If no one has a take, we'll move on. Because the whole point is that we'll tell you guys what we've gathered from every single podcast we've done on these topics. So, like, for example, the main person we talked about with this was Lax. His take was that energy should not be progressive through contested. And off the polls, it's very varied on what you guys think, to be honest. I don't even know what to say.
No, I'm not even gonna lie, bro. If we get Comma, Lecker, and Foxio up at the same time, you can argue on Loxodons and Rails.
God.
That would be funny, bro. I'm looking at you guys having an argument in the chat, bro.
If we can actually go into that topic, since nobody wants to talk about energy, we'll happily go into that. The overview of energy is that, from what I've heard, most people would prefer. To be honest, a lot of people think it's a bug that you can activate or you can keep your energy stuff in warp. So again, just disabling that. Not when you're aligning, that's different because nothing's actually happening. You just move in there. But when you're charging for the warp, it should make it to take
It
your
should
energy
automatically
up,
turn
and you
off,
should
yeah.
be able to activate it. Yeah, I'll automatically turn it off in preparation for the full warp, and it should add all your cooldowns to it. But yeah. But anyways, since no one wants to talk about it, I think we'll move on to. You can happily move on to Rails and how it affects contested or just in general unsecure PvP. So we had a few base takes because we talked about it a lot during a lot of the podcast, which I can't remember specifically who, but Depart had a very controversial take about it. And regard that the base take, which we all had at the time, was, well, the
Remove
thing
'em.
is, use a Rail Edict. Rail Edict is agile. Rails do insane amount of damage. There's no drop off. They're extremely deadly. Blah blah blah. Right, and then we had a few ideas for the fix, but then also the part brought up the controversy of that. Well, Rails aren't actually that insane. They just need to. There's a ways to counter it. You could happily use beams. I've lost to beam players a lot because beams are more versatile when it comes to damage output and how close you are to the damage. So a beam user would most likely kill a edict user because of how consistent the beams are compared to rails. Rails are, if you miss that shot, it's over because your health can be regen during that time, and that makes your shot pointless. Because of the way rails work, it's bad against fighters, which is why personally I think they should have a shield debuff to how much damage they do to allow
means
fighters to be
OP
more
as
viable
fuck.
against them. However, when it comes to actual combat against destroyer versus destroyer, frigate versus frigate, etc., Rails and beams, beams are always winning. If any decent beam user is beating a decent rail user, it's far riskier.
We basically hate railguns for multiple reasons.
The railguns with the Luxodon railguns, man.
Fuck
it's
railguns for a
story.
few different reasons. The first reason is, think about this. Absolutely no fucking turret in the game can, I've said this before in another podcast, but there is no fucking turret in the game that can match the same DPS as a railgun at the max range. You can't hit anything from that range.
I agree. Even beams, even beams cannot do that because beams have the
beams
drop-off.
can't even do it because of the drop off.
You're really close to warp point, which is extremely unlucky. Which I think if he introduced that as well as systems alongside planet warping as well, that'd be great. Because right now, what happens is whoever is the defending party is who's going to win. It's that simple. Unless they are really uncoordinated. A coordinated defensive against a coordinated attack. Coordinated defensive is always going to win because they have the upper hand. They can do so much more DPS before their fleet gets organized. And because of warp point, it just makes it near impossible for the attacking team to win.
Genuinely think
the
disruption range, disruption range is like 4k or something insane. So like with a good hybrid disruptor, or it might be even more than that. I don't remember. But
how again? Wait, hold on, Rocco. How? Because how he said I have one.
This relates to rails. So
yeah, it relates to rails. But that's great, and we're not saying it's impossible. We're saying if you're against a good fleet of destroyers holding warp point. That warp point specifically, not station warp point, they are way more coordinated and able to target the first player than you are on the engagement. Because you have to organize your fleet and attack them. Of course, if it's bubble, for example, prime bubble against early TSC when they were just starting to get into contested and having a lot of numbers, then it makes sense why you guys are winning on the attack because they're less coordinated. For one, they didn't have an FC at the time, and for two, it was a lot more difficult for them to defend because again, they just didn't have the people, they didn't have the turrets. So if you have better modules, better subsystems, and a more coordinated fleet and a better FC, then of course you might win on the attack. I'm saying that it's less likely in even scenarios,
it's difficult
even numbers,
because you're already
even
losing like
commanders.
5 guys off the bat if you're the attackers usually. If they're defending and they're not retarded. So
That's a big skill gap. I'm saying if it's an even engagement with even FCs, it's just not happening. They had both as doing it early into TSC prize.
Nah, the way to fix rails is literally just to nerf the disruption range because you can disrupt from too far while using rails and kiting, which is it's bullshit. And give rails a bit of either drop off or nerf them against shield. That's literally how you do it. And make fighters have a module that like deflects rails because it's bullshit getting one tap. That's not skill based. I don't care what anyone says.
Perhaps simply scale it down.
Scale it down a lot for fighters.
Yeah. It's a skill.
Oh, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna clap you, bro. In my rail gun edict.
Defenders advantage that it's even worse if you're attacking a destroyer fleet with a destroyer fleet.
Yeah.
You at least have a slight chance if you have fast ships attacking, because then you're not used railgun food, basically.
Yeah,
but even then,
look, you gotta take this from me.
Reaction speed is not enough for you to actually move before you.
It's even worse with ping, right? I've been with some of the best people in the game in Interceptors. I was goated in Interceptors. I used to attack people using railgun edicts, and sometimes I would kill them. But even, it doesn't matter how good you are, there's always just a chance for them to get lucky, bro, and one tap you. It's not even like a skill based, like they have to hit you a few times. It's just boom, one got you, one shot and you're gone, bro. And just nerf it. Like, that's my opinion on it. Just nerf it against fighters.
From experience, it's not hard to predict fighters. Any reasonable person that uses rails, from my experience, it's not hard to hit.
You get blazing, like, treated. That's what happens with rails, bro.
But again, it's that instant, like, what are you meant to do? If you warp into a player fleet of that many people, it's not going to happen. Even if it's a big fleet, you're guaranteed to lose at least, like, 1 or 2 destroyers off-whip before a fleet can coordinately attack you. If it's a big fleet battle, that's the thing. And if they're organized right, they could even have, like, 20 people, 10 people being organized with rail volleys, and the other 10 behind them having rails, so they can kill 2 people at once instantly. And in DIAC 4, for example, when the early stages of combat happened with railguns and all the new modules and turrets were added, when Farrakans used that Luxodon railgun strat against the Justice DPS fleet, it just shows like how OP railguns are, especially with light burners and being able to just kite people the whole time. If DPS light burn on you, and they try and defeat your rails, it doesn't matter. It's a counter. However, they just light burn away. They're gonna get kills either way off the whip. Off the whip, they get kills. If they jump on you, they jump away and still get more kills.
It's
You
just
just
the
can't
alpha
take it.
damage with the fucking range, bro. That's what makes it
Again,
so
it's the alpha damage, which is why personally, and a lot of other people think that rails should at least get a debuff to shield at a minimum. Like get a debuff to shield, whether it's 0.5 instead of 0.25, because it's the plain alpha damage that it does, which makes.
Because think
it so
about
much
this:
more
your rails
effective
would
than
still
other
be
turrets.
like reliable against ships, okay? They would be reliable against ships, but if you tried to fucking kite shield tanks like Justices or some shit, which is obviously bullshit if you're doing that, they're gonna run out of like light burn and shit, and they're eventually gonna get you and rape you an ass because you just don't have the firepower, which is realistic. That's supposed to be the counter. Like that's how the game works, as counters. You know, rails shouldn't be able to kill everything. That doesn't like rails is the counter to everything in this game. It doesn't matter what it is. There should be versatility, man. You know, variety. So,
To be fair, I had no idea it dropped to 0.65. I thought it was still 0.75. Not gonna lie, I thought
That's
it was like
still
0.75 for the.
But-
It's still the thing is though, even though it's 0.65, the issue is it's the plain alpha damage that it does. It's the plain alpha damage. It's not to do with like, even though it's a debuff, it should be more because it's the plain alpha damage that it does. Like that's the point. The fact that it can one shot because of that shield debuff is ridiculous. You can have 5 rails, instantly kill a destroyer. Even if it's a justice, they still do. It's the plain alpha damage, man. That's the issue. No drop off, no fall off, straight 5k range, extreme projectile speed. I think it's at 7,500 right now. It's mental. How it works is insane. Make more Desi series.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, I do agree that it needs to be like nerfed, but I don't think nerfing the stealth damage is the way to do it.
how do you think?
Because if you have a ship with high shield regen, that could make rail basically useless.
But again, a justice is
And at that point, we are probably gonna see the meta change to something.
that's
very
why like
stealth
beams.
based.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be something like beams instead. But again, I think you'll start seeing a lot more like beam and rail mixes rather than just rail fleets. Because of the point of because of the vast amount of damage that alpha damage does. So again, even though that the point is 0.65 to shield right now, it still does not defeat how much the drop off does compared to something like beams. There is no turret that can test with it with the range and the pure alpha damage that it does. No turret, not even beams. Because the drop off is too much. It's the fact that it stays at that consistent damage all the way up to 5k. That's what's really horrible about them.
I think we need to work on killing metas and working on getting stuff like to just be counter based. Meta shouldn't exist. You need to be able to have strategy and to be able to plan things differently and have shit interesting. It shouldn't be the same every battle. That's boring. And
There should be different strats. There should be different ways to counter things.
there shouldn't be like just one king ship. It should be like you have to mix ships in fleets against other mixed fleets to beat their ass. Like, and you need to plan it like chess. That's what it should be like. It shouldn't be like fucking rails. Yep.
The healthy state of like metas is where you have multiple viable metas. So you don't just have one meta. You, for example, have 4 metas, all counteracting each other. And I had just an idea of how to potentially nerf railguns and not make them completely useless to shield region. Make it a percentage-based system where if the shield is above a certain percentage, the shield debuff is quite high.
That's a good idea. That
So
makes
you will
people
have an
target low
incentive
people as
to-
well.
No, yeah, it requires you to actually
That's
like
a good strat. Like imagine. I can already
go for
imagine the battles.
people with low shield and have beam people
Yeah, imagine that.
first take down shield.
Like imagine you came in right with some like guerrilla fucking quickie bastards that just come in and go boom 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 boom, make a bunch of people low, then they just dip and then the kiters come in and boom boom boom. Good strat. I like that idea. Way more fun than just the fucking rails, you know?
Yeah, it does
I
have more
mean,
versatility to it as well.
Yeah. No, definitely.
I still would say that it likely would end up in you having a fleet of people half using beams, half using rails, but it will
Yeah,
still
exactly,
require
yeah.
the beam people to first shoot, and then the rail people to finish off the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, but again, you've got drop off there. That's what it makes it more fair than the current meta right now, even if that happens. Which is why I was saying about like the debuff instead of debuff, you know, reducing hull damage. But again, that would just make it more counterable. So I don't know about that. But yeah, when it comes to beams, I think the drop off is the big thing. Again, you've still got the risk of warp point, because if they're on warp point and your warp point's horrible, you're just getting one shot. It is what it is. There's no drop off.
And if you're
I
the
wish there was
FC,
a way
bro,
to
your whole
flip that,
fleet is
but it
fucking
is-
cooked.
Yeah, exactly, man. It does suck. But yeah, in regards to this, before we move on to the next topic, it was nice to yap about. Does anybody want to come up and contest what we've just said? Does anybody at all want to come up? If they got a different take on
who thinks
Railguns,
we're talking shit?
You know
experience?
You know the answer already.
Yeah, they,
Well, no, 'cause there's a
they
few
already
people-
know because
no,
we're
no,
speaking facts. That's why, bro. We're
Well,
speaking
no,
facts.
there is a few people that would.
Oh, no,
genuinely have
three
different
people are typing, bro.
controversial things. I think
Wait.
you had any more.
You don't remember, bro. Somebody's high, bro. Okay. Hop on the stage. Nah,
Basically,
okay.
to sum it up, it's mainly we don't want we want a bit of drop off in rails. We want the projectile speed to be a bit less, and basically allow it to be less viable. Because if there's a bit of drop off in rails, right, you'd think over time. I know in law, right, it kind of doesn't make sense for railguns to ever drop off in space because there's no gravitational pull on it, right? But if we're thinking
you can
about
hear
how
sound
fair
in
the game is,
Starscape, okay? It's not about realism, it's
Yeah.
about fun, alright? That's what it's about. It's a fucking
Yeah,
Lego
that's
space
why- that's
game.
why
You can jump out
yeah,
the
that's why
space
I'd
station and
like-
walk around and fall, there's no
that's fair,
gravity.
that's fair.
So, like,
That's,
Yeah.
that's why I would like for the shield, the damage to just go down even further, because taking away the projectile speed defeats the whole point of railguns.
Bro,
It just kind of
some
it
weapons
defeats
do.
the whole point of how it works.
Fox, yo, some weapons have 5k range, like coil guns. The issue is good luck hitting them at 5k range. Like, you're not going to be able to...
No, honestly, Rocco, I do agree with that. What Foxy was saying, like, because think about it, against destroyers, 5k range. I think all turrets should definitely have 5k range, because that was another thing. Okay, you know what? I have an interesting.
Alright, get him on, get him on, get him on.
Go on, you're invited.
Alright,
Go on,
come on,
Ahoy,
Rails.
go for it.
Okay, so first of all, to balance rails, I would make their reload time like 3 times as much, because I think you can't just like remove the drop off or kind of just make them
Not rails, not
make them,
rails.
like slower, because
Yes.
I get the like concept of railgun just being a fast turret which hits heavy. Secondly, I would also just not make them do any damage to shield, but in turn for that make them do like 1.7 times to hull. So like, for
Okay,
example,
so if
Justice
you
could
get
counter
if you get told, you're like fucking... You should be scared, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did talk about this before. And we did say this, and then there's a lot of controversial people saying like, "Oh, well, I don't know if it should be 0, but like at least really low. Like I think if the shield was to go down, then the hull should definitely go up. But again, it shouldn't be like exact proportion. Like right now, it's less. So it's 0.65 for shield, but it's 0.25 for hull. I think it should be the same thing, but again, still less. So maybe like maybe 0.5 for shield, and maybe like 1.35 for hull, something like that. But not like 1.75, even if it's 0. Maybe if it's fully 0, I'll maybe take 1.75. But I don't think it should be fully 0, because there's been a lot of people that have convinced me otherwise. But still,
Yeah,
carry on.
The thing is that you, like, as I said, you shouldn't be able to one-shot the stock Justice's shields with only 5 rail loxos. I've
No,
done it
absolutely
multiple
not.
times
Yeah,
before.
no, I agree with that completely. You shouldn't be able to, which is why I think it should be debuffed. And again, like I said before, I don't think that the drop-off or anything should really be fully affected, because again, it removes the whole concept of railguns. As much as it'd be nice, I think there's other ways to balance the turret than just removing everything that makes a railgun, you know? And like Foxio's take saying that every turret should be 5k range, I do agree, because again, that'll add more versatility into destroyer combat, purely due to the fact that turrets will be able to hit destroyers even at 5k
Yeah, I agree,
range.
bro. Make
It's hard to
shrapnel's
tell.
5k, like, that's gonna be it. That's the
No,
man.
but they're not going to hit, but you know what I mean. The only issue with that is it increases a lot of lag for DPS as well, so it'll have to be optimized. But it's definitely a function that could happen, because hitting 5k, turrets going all the way to 5k with a lot of turrets, it'll definitely work, and it'll remove the counter of kiting, which is such an AIDS thing to do right now. Kiting, nah, hate it so much.
I hate it, man.
Well, Harry, have you got anything else?
Oh, not for now.
But yeah, no, I do agree with your take though. It's quite, I get what you mean. Again, whether or not it should be fully deleted, I'm not too sure. Again, that's for something for Kev to decide in his mind, but it's definitely an option. I will admit. Well, thanks for coming up, because we will go for more topics, which I'm sure you want to talk about later, anyways.
Yeah.
Nah, honestly, bro, like, alright, he's back in the audience. Alright, I want to talk about fighters. I want to talk about interceptors, and I want to talk
here we
about.
go. Here we go.
Listen. I want to talk about not how amazing they are, but how shit they are. Actually, I think they're irrelevant now. I don't think they're very useful. I think the only people who use them is people that have nostalgia, and that's literally it. And there's literally no reason to use fighters. And I think they're really fun. The combat in fighters was very fun. It definitely definitely was the highest skill cap, which made it extremely fun to get good at them and to do like fights with them. They did have like some strategy involved, and especially fighter on fighter stuff. I think we need to make fighters relevant again, and I think a lot of the fighters are just useless at the moment. Like, fighters have a lot of issues, but nobody notices them because they're so irrelevant. One of those issues is Hyperpolaris, bro. Nobody can beat that shit. Okay, literally, Paragon is useless against the Hyperpolaris because it P-shoot or DPS. It can't regen, and so it doesn't matter if it's fast, it's fucked. The Claymore is OP and has DPS, but it can't regen, so it's fucked. The Lumina is just a worse Claymore, which like doesn't make sense, but it is a worse Claymore. Like, why does it have 3 guns instead of 4? Anyway, whatever. The Hyperpolaris is just too fucking cracked, okay? And then you have like the random weird chips like the Hornbill, which is just a weird version of a Claymore, and then the fucking other ones that are like weird, like the Mackerel and all those. They're all useless as fuck, and I think that the fighters need a rework. I think that they need to be more balanced. I think that Paragon should be able to fucking kill a Hyperpolaris. I think that it should have more regen. I think a Paragon should have like super ton of regen and keep its low DPS, but as long as it has a ton of regen, it's like hard to kill. And I think if they were able to get reworked, people would start using them again. Like, I used to kill destroyers in just little fighters, just one-on-one, and I think that it was good fun, like, to use like a few fighters to kill, you know, fleet of destroyers or whatever. I don't know why. I think Railguns is the biggest reason why people don't use fighters anymore, just because they get one-tapped. I know that you can be a god and you might be able to get a kill, but imagine trying to fight a rail fleet, bro. Just not possible, is it now?
I think there is a bit of a controversial opinion. I don't fully agree with Rockguy's take, only because I've been experiencing lately, or at least over the last few months, especially from an old player called Aztecs, is that he's been using Hyperpolaris in ways I would never imagine against destroyers, which is by simply just hugging their asses.
Yeah, that's
right?
what you
literally
do,
staying
yeah.
underneath and turreting them the whole time. And it's impossible to hit them. I swear to God, it's
No,
impossible.
they're hard to hit. If
That's
in a
right.
1v1, destroyer can't kill a fighter. I do think that's
Yeah,
true.
no,
unless he
that's
has
definitely
insane
not.
regen and he gets really lucky. But
I do agree in most cases scenario, especially with like
But with
Corvettes
fleets,
and
it's
stuff.
different.
Fighters, in
Yeah,
fleets it's definitely
fleets are
different.
not
I
good
think
at doing
fighters
it.
should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be more viable in
And
terms of how they work.
because of the skill cap, because you need to be very cracked in fighters to get a kill, it makes people not want to use them. And also,
But there's just more and more counters. Like,
people don't-
think about it, PDTs rock out. Like, it's
Yeah.
again another counter towards fighters. It makes them less and less viable, which is why you have the big ships to try and like outweigh it. Fighters is to distract people.
Yeah.
Big ships are to come in and try and do main DPS. You know.
Yeah, and I think that if you had to shoot them down with actual bullets and hit your shots instead of just one tapping, I think that they would be more like useful. I do think beams could still kill them, but you need good aim. I remember fighting beam fleets in fighters, and yeah, they would get you eventually, but you could hold your own for a while. You can't do that with rails. And I'm not saying like to completely fuck rails. I just think fighters, they need to be more used and more relevant. They're ignored and neglected. And also, ask the average noob. Like most noobs, they think fighters are just because they're small, they're bad, bro. That's what they think. They think they're so useless. That's why they always get cocky in destroyers and they like fight you in wild, and they think that's an easy kill, and then they die, and then they quit the game. But if they knew like that the game that the thing was good, you know, But whatever. I'm yapping too much on fighters, but I just bring back the glory of fighters. That's what I want, man.
Wait,
But,
Coma, do you want to come up and talk about this? Yes. So I just realised put your hand up. Do you
Oh,
want to come
no.
up and talk?
let's
I'll
go.
invite you to speak.
Yeah,
and
let
if
him
you
in,
do
let
come
him
up
in.
on stage.
Don't let him kick
Hello,
you.
Coma.
Oh, hi.
Hey.
Hello.
So yeah, we're talking about fighters,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, we are.
Yep.
Go on. Let's hear it.
Honestly, as one of the best players with fighters, honestly,
Okay, buddy. Right,
they
we're not gonna hype you up that much.
No,
mate.
he's
Come on,
the
we're not
best,
gonna
bro. He's the
hype
best.
you
He's the best, definitely. All right.
honestly,
What do you want to...
wait. Okay, so basically, fighters do need a rework, but they don't need like a shit ton of regen, like you said, Rokoy, on the like Paragon. I think they do need a little bit of HP buff, so they could survive an entire
Royal
salvo.
Yeah.
Of Wells, for example.
Yeah, like when there's people chasing your ass.
Yeah, there's like the fucking H Paul meta is has been there for like years now, and I have seen people try use fucking hybrid paragons to try and counter hybrid Polaris because hybrid paragons have a bit of a weird hitbox like that. It's harder. Usually, it's harder to hit them. Honestly, what I would do to revive fighters is probably just buff their HP, maybe buff their energy capacity because they literally have no energy at all because honestly,
That's true, but you
light
can't even
repairers. Yeah, you can only
They get
use
away.
light repairers for like 20 seconds, and then you have no energy anymore. That's why I honestly use energy boosters for 1v1s because you know
Yeah, no,
it's
I agree with you. I think what happened was that during the infinite energy days, I don't know if anybody was around during the mortal ships days in this damn thing.
Fighters were meta. That's because.
No,
of
yeah, but
energy.
you couldn't
Fighters-
kill them. They were invincible. And what they did was
I say
they nerfed it too much.
the fucking
They
the
over-nerfed
fucking
it,
modules,
basically.
the fucking tier of modules matter. They always
Oh yeah,
matter
no, the
because-
hybrid fucking
because-
thing is it?
because if you have double dread, you'll see on a hybrid Polaris, you have 200
yeah, definitely.
turning 200 agility. You can go circles around Corvettes.
But think about it
Oh,
like
yeah.
this:
Yet you can still get one
the
shot.
regen too. Like if you have a hybrid light shield repairer, that does double the
Yeah.
speed for half the energy. That's fucked.
Yeah,
Yep.
the fucking energy of the
It should cost more
interceptors
energy.
are. Yeah, it's like fucked to a point. You need a fucking energy booster sometimes, and
Yeah.
you have to give up your disruptor. So
I was definitely. I was thinking about this.
it kind of sucks to be honest.
Yeah, it sucks.
Because you have to,
They know if
you
they
have
had.
you have you
That's
have to
basically what they did.
take risks, a lot of risks when they have rails, for example. You have to follow a certain pattern so they don't really one tap you immediately. They just hit like one rail.
Yep.
Yeah, honestly, I find the Mako not the Mako, but Macau, like the Cavani Interceptor,
Yeah.
interesting because it has 3 subsystems. It has a lot of potential, but it's quite outclassed in agility because habit pole meta, it's always there. I think agility needs to be nerfed on hybrid ships, especially when you have the hybrid claymore with WEC that can match a fucking tier 2 hybrid pole, which basically makes my point.
I will let Lax come on and also contest you.
Yeah,
about
especially
this,
if he has an opposing opinion, we get a free debate, bro. Get him on.
Oh yeah, that'd be amazing.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Come on, Lax.
Yo, hello, Coma. No,
So-
okay, first
they don't
thing,
have any
I
rivals,
disagree.
man. Oh, let's go,
I
bro.
disagree when Coma said that fighters need an HP buff. Like, I completely disagree. Because
Okay,
I don't
come on.
want to be like in a big ship like a destroyer and fight a fucking small tank just flying around me and annoying me. Like
This is
fighters
why-
are
That's fair.
fighter
This is why I
HP is fine as it is. It's the railguns that are the problem. Because as Rocco
Okay,
said earlier, like everything needs a counter, but there can't be something that counters everything, you know.
Yeah, but the problem.
Like, fighter counter can still be railguns, but it cannot just be annihilating the fighters. Like a railgun
Yeah,
cannot
but-
just kill all the fighters on site. That's all.
You know, status exists. You could use that.
Fuck that!
No,
No, remove that
Stasis
from the
needs to be
game.
removed from the game.
Yeah, bro.
No, what are you
That's
talking
true,
about,
true.
Stasis?
True.
I mean, what I would do to nerf railguns is probably give them a fucking drop off and maybe nerf the velocity of the bullets. Like, make it so it's like much less versatile and less used because yeah, it's way too it's overused.
The main nerf that railguns needs is that you can hold them. Like you
You
shouldn't be
know
able
what they
to
need,
hold
bro?
them.
If you hold the railgun for too long, it backfires and then you get the damage.
Yeah, you can just hold a railgun for 25 minutes, and the fighter
Yeah.
can just
I think,
fully heal.
guys, I do think again what Harry said before with the railguns being the fact that they need just more cooldown. I do agree with that because even though it wouldn't fix the problem of getting one shot on warp, it would fix the problem of consistently getting one shot on warp. You know, if you miss, you miss, and that's it. And it would allow DPS to engage the rail fleets a lot easier if it was just a bigger cooldown. Could it not make sense? Rails should take longer to charge, but it's a powerful kinetic weapon.
Deepart had a good take though on the fucking rails, like about holding
Knife jaws, oh my god.
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah, that
I
one.
don't think railguns should take a lot to charge and do more damage because that would nerf fighters even more because there's more one-shot potential.
Yeah.
Even if they shoot less, there's more one-shot potential. And I don't want to get one-shot by an edict shooting the single rail on the bottom of it. Thank you.
That's why
Yeah.
I think they should have that shield debuff. Because it shouldn't affect big fights as much. Because if there's a lot of rails happening, then sure, you know, it'll be able to hit. But that's why I want it to be jammed just a bit more to allow fighters to not get one shot completely. You know, that's the main thing.
Well, the biggest thing that should be changed is that you cannot hold you cannot just charge railguns and hold them for 25 minutes. That's the biggest change.
I do. Everyone doesn't like it, right? Everybody hates that you can hold rails, but Deepart's point was basically that when you're fighting rails, the whole point is to be aggressive and to make them shoot. So it doesn't matter how long they're holding. They're still gonna miss, basically, if you know what you're doing.
Which is
Oh,
why,
also-
yeah.
I mean, they will
Wait,
hit you.
another
They can
thing-
still hit you, but that's just the point he made.
Another thing with rails is that you can just warp and warp with rails charged. And other than the fact that they
yeah,
make
that's
no
bad.
sound,
That's bad.
wait, other than
You
the
can't-
fact that they make shut up. Other than the fact that they make zero sound, is that you have them insta charge the second you are in the planet. And hell nah.
Yeah, I think that's a bug. If anything, I don't think that's actually an intentional feature. Just because of the way it works, I don't think it's intentional. Because you can't normally shoot in warp, right? I think it is a bug. It's just he hasn't got around to it yet. But no, I do
hope
agree.
it is, bro.
Yeah, I
It's
just
not a bug. Kev is on drugs. Heavy.
Yeah.
think
Cat
it
is literally
He's
on
on
drugs, bro.
ketamine. He's on ketamine.
I mean, look at the hybrid Luminar. Before it was even fixed, the hybrid Luminar had less shield than the Luminar itself,
I think
which
it's more to do
which
with
it doesn't-
technical follow down.
which doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, I think it's I think people just need to report the bugs. I think a lot of people think it's pointless to post in bug reports. Personally, he's responded to me, right? He's responded to my bug reports when it's actually a bug report. A lot of people in bug reports just kind of say, "Oh, well, I think that the game should just be improved." I think it's not actually a bug report. I think if we
No,
actually
I know,
post the
right?
bug
I hate the
report-
low IQ people in the
might get
Starscape
fixed.
community server. Fucking retards.
Because he does fix them. That's what I mean. Even though he's a solo dev and people say, "Oh, he doesn't post content," he does fix the bugs. Instantly, I swear to God, posted a bug, it was fixed in the next content update.
What was I was
Even
gonna
if
say?
it's
Though,
not
tell me. What
posted
was
bugs.
I was gonna say?
The biggest bug he hasn't fixed is the fucking shift bug where
Yeah,
after
no,
a
hold
while
on.
you
Lex,
just cannot shift.
Lex. Let Iraz talk for a sec. He was gonna say something.
I was just gonna say that one way I personally see railguns being potentially possible to fix is to provide small ships like fighters and a submodule that makes them invisible for a small time. Basically gives them invisibility frames. So you can
Okay.
bait the rail shot, and
That's interesting.
you don't need to touch it. You can just spend your energy to basically just bait it once, and then you have to stay alive until you can.
That would be
use
that
the
would be an
ability again.
interesting thing to try master. That would be an interesting feature.
Again, that's why I think that making the rail cooldown less would fix a lot of problems. Again, I really like Howard's take on it because, again, that would fix the problem of rails and fighters. That fighters bait the rail shot, then they engage. It's that simple. They can't just hold it the whole time because they can't afford to hold it the whole time. They'll lose too much health. But if people can do it over time with the current, if people can still kill in fighters, I've seen it happen. If people in fighters can still kill ships like Edicts with rails, even with the immense cooldown it has now, even though it's unlikely, imagine what they could do with less cooldown. Let's double the cooldown of rails. Why not? It makes sense. And then it'll make it even harder for people to lose the shots. It'd make rail users also more scared to use rails because once they've used it, they've used it.
We need to be careful though. We can't nerf rails too much because if we do that, then all of a sudden we have the same problem but with another turret. You know.
Yeah. You keep the current stats of it, then all you do is increase the cooldown to like double or something,
Right.
because then you won't have to worry
I'll be
about
back
the
in a
mass
sec.
rail
I'll be back in a sec. You guys, yeah.
Nice one, right?
Yeah, maybe that, but you have to nerf the bullet speed as well. So it doesn't. You don't have to automatically use a fucking swift bolt to use to basically
it's
make
true,
your
yeah.
railguns literally beams. So I
No,
think we
guys,
should nerf the bullet
do-
speed as well.
Yeah, I do agree with this. Like, especially with rails, like with the bullet speed, it's a bit too high, but it isn't. It's there. Like, I mean, maybe drop it to like 700, maybe 750. Like nothing crazy because they're railguns at the end of the day. They're meant to be fast. That's what makes them railguns. They're meant to be fast. They're meant to be no drop off. Meant to do damage instantly, right? So it makes sense. It's meant to be a fast turret. I just think that the reload time is a big thing, and like even realistically, like in film series like Expanse, for example, railguns they're hard to charge. Like it's one shot, and like that's it. It takes time to reload. It isn't instant. Like yeah, it's railguns right now are too fast. They're too fast for the reload speed. Up the reload speed, I think a lot of problems will be solved rather than just trying to figure out should we debuff this, should we debuff that. I think again, our take on that was pretty good. But have we got any more takes on fighters, real quick, before we move on to anything else? Have you got any more opinions, Wax? Anything else?
I mean, another thing. Rocky said that fighters should be good in fleets, but like not if it's fighters against destroyers. Fighters against edicts, sure, but fighters against destroyers, no.
I think that fighters could, like, I think like a massive fighter fleet could win against a few destroyers, right? But I don't think at all
against
that, like,
a few destroyers, yeah, but
yeah, I don't think like even numbers, 10 fighters should not win against 10 destroyers. I know, I get that absolutely. I like 1v1s. This Rocko's take of 1v1 you should be able to kill them, but again, it's a destroyer. You should not be able to kill a destroyer in a fighter one-on-one. It doesn't make any sense.
I mean,
I do agree with that.
That depends because, like, okay, so light stuff is good in numbers. Heavy stuff, sorry, I'm sorry. Heavy stuff is good in numbers. If it's alone, it's useless.
Yeah.
Like that's the basics of like army and that type of stuff. If you have something heavy alone, it's useless. So if you have a lot of heavy stuff, that's not useless anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what I'm saying. Right now, the only thing that isn't useless with a lot of heavy DPS is railguns. That's because it's instant damage, right? It's that instant damage which kills everything. But again, if the reload time is actually nerfed, then it allows for DPS to actually counter it. Because right now, all that happens is the group fight up. Again, if we made the two changes of making all turrets 5k range, which would allow for turrets, especially against destroyers, would really allow for turrets to like DPS to be able to hit the rail guys instead of getting kited all the time. And by increasing that reload time on the railguns, it'll allow them to be far less versatile and more viable in contested, for example. They allow for that versatility in ships for DPS especially to win those fights instead of pure rail fleets. It'd be far too risky for people to use them. So I think those two changes would do. If you have any other takes on that, then feel free. But again, with fighters specifically, it's really it's something else. It really just is
I partially agree, like mostly agree.
Okay, that's cool. Comma, you got anything, bro? Before we move on.
Nah.
Cool, bro. Well, if you guys want to hop off stage, we'll go into another topic, and if we get on something that piques your interest, feel free to come back on and invite you on.
Yeah,
All right.
sure. Goodbye.
Good stuff. So yeah. So next topic we wanted to go over, at least I wanted to. I don't think it's on the list, but blasters. Right. A lot of people have been saying in chat, especially, is that blasters are too OP. Personally, I think there is a lot of counters to blasters actually. So right now in contested,
Armor.
all you see is blaster fighting. I know Iris, you might, Rocco, when he gets back, you might have not seen this because you've not been on the game recently. But the main thing in contested is blaster PvP. Now, for my little time I returned to Starscape, the few months, I did find a counter to this, which is simply using armor. Now, I think Howard said that someone used armor against him and it didn't work. Just off what Murky's been doing to you guys, I'm pretty sure it works. So how it works right now is that with armor, if you use an armor booster and swift bolt, it does not matter who you're against, because the standard builds for conces are using a blaster with heavy bolt, and it's all about skill. You can completely inert that skill by using a swift bolt and an armor booster, because I'm like the Asian one. And I promise you, you'll win all your fights, because swift bolt, you don't even have to aim. They cannot do all their fucking turn and shit, going up and down. It won't work. I've tested this so many times, and I've won so many fights because of it. Simply fight people with a blaster, armor, swift bolt build. There is counters to this, of course. Simply using coils. That's a great counter.
What are we yapping? Are we still on rails?
No. So what I've changed to is blasters.
Okay.
So I know you guys haven't experience with it, but basically I was saying that
No, I have
blasters
experience.
are not. I
Not
know,
as
but
much
like in
as,
contested specifically with
a
destroyers.
sweaty
And
contested.
right now in contested, 1v1's a blaster with shield repair heavy bolt, right? The counter to it, I was saying, was using an armor booster nation one, which is having extra, I think it's 8 or 12, sorry, extra 12 armor for a large one, and also putting composite armors on your conciliator. It sounds bad, but it works super well. You have 40% extra hull over the person. It's 35 to 40%. If they were to hit all of your shots, it's a straight 35% extra hull you have over them, just by having the armor booster. And by the time your armor booster is depleted, you will still have, and you will still kill them. It's that simple. We've tested it so many times. You'll kill the person with 35% hull remaining, standing still, nothing misses, you'll win. So
You just leaked the
on top
super
of the
build, bro, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, and it's fine. I don't care because I'm not playing anymore. I'm not murking my hater, but it's fine. But like seriously, people need to start thinking about it more. It's a super build only because people don't use it. When people start to use it, there'll be counters such as coil guns, which is why I like conciliator. Even though I think the energy is stupid, the energy regen is insanely stupid. The blaster meta right now is not a meta. It's just nobody's actually been willing to counter it because the player base has been low. A simple counter is by using Swift Bolt to make spinning and all that up and down shit completely inert. You can literally aim trace them. I swear to God, it's so easy. And then you pop your armor booster to the point where they'll miss more shots because they're doing all the spinny shit. You can stand still, hold G, and you'll hit more shots than them. Guaranteed. It's guaranteed. With Swift Bolt, there's almost no skill. 3 to 4k range, you barely need to adjust. Barely. So if anybody wants to come on stage and convince me that blasters are like metas, nothing you can do about it, go for it. But I promise you, of what I've just said is accurate, because it's been tested so many times, and Murky has tested this a lot of times, and it's worked against every single person he's fought. It's that simple. That's why subsystem exists. So if anyone wants to come on stage, feel free. Colm, I assume that's you, right? You want to come on stage and talk about it? There you go.
Yeah,
Go
Fox,
for
true.
it. You're a contestant guy.
Yeah,
Go for
so
it. Controversy me
yeah,
there.
so I agree that what you just said should be used more, because I also tested that against so much people, and it actually works so well that
Yep.
I decided to try it as of today. When I see someone in contested, just the normal 1v1 stuff, you know.
Yep.
Honestly, partially the reason why no one uses such an unrated build like this is no one actually knows how armor works. So basically, how armor works is basically it's much of a percentage. It's like you have, let's say you have 7,000 hull, and blasters can take like 5 minutes to deplete your entire hull before you die.
Yeah.
With armor, that could increase to 10 minutes, for example. And what you might the only counter to that might just be cold guns with
Yeah.
HE, for example. Uh, honestly, I
But again, there's
see.
counters to that, Coma. That's what I was getting at. There's counters to a full coil HE build. It's by simply having a standard build, like a blaster build. So blasters can counter HE DPS coils, right? And then if you want to counter straight blasters, you just use a swift bolt with armor, focus armor, because I like at the end of the day, shield rep's good, which a lot of people use. The issue with shield rep is it doesn't do as much health as armor does to you. That's it. It doesn't
Yeah.
regen enough compared to what armor does. It can get out DPS by the blasters. We've tested this so many times to the point where if you are in a full tier 4 build, a tier 3 blaster build with an ancient armor booster will beat you every day. We have tested it so many times. It is ridiculous the DPS output that it has compared to. It's the same DPS, but how much more DPS it can output due to the armor, which is what we're getting at.
It can also work with deflectors, but since there's no subsystem that actually boosts your deflector, it's much less talked about.
Yep.
It would only work with pretty much blasters or ions. Ions are actually slightly underrated because they could just absolutely deplete your shields like it's nothing.
The only issue is
I
the hull.
think-
Like it can't do anything to hull. Like I've tried it
Yeah.
so many times.
The problem with that is you need someone in Rails, for example, or
Like coils or something.
just a normal DPS guy, or
Yeah.
someone in Rails, for example, if you are more daring. I think maybe a small buff on the ions and coils, so it's actually more viable. Um, blasters are basically a reskinned repeater if you were before the new gen update. I think it was the new gen update, yes.
Yep.
So basically, cannons way before the new gen update. Cannons were the absolute meta. Everyone was using that. It
And then
had
they changed it so
great
cannons actually
damage,
can. Yeah.
and then it basically got replaced with a much less basically cannons, but
Blasters.
a bit worse
Yeah.
and much less damage. So basically, cannons became much more important for like
It's like plasma shots.
PvE.
That's what it is. Yeah, cannons are like plasma
Yeah.
shots. They're very slow, but when they hit you, it does a lot of damage.
Yeah. So basically, what I would do is basically use that build you just mentioned, so people know about that build and stop using the same meta build we have. We've seen all the year. So honestly, I have seen people use RZ builds like ULC, but
Yep.
ULC just fucks up your
ULC.
shields.
No. We won't talk about ULC because ULC is a whole different topic after this. I
Yeah, we
promise
know
you.
it's
We'll
bad,
go over it.
but
We'll go over it.
I honestly think it's funny that ions are absolutely useless and literally blasters are better, but I think we need to move on to another topic. We've been ranting. It's been an hour, bro.
We do.
So
I know, yeah. Well, okay, I'll move you down, but what we will go over next is, if you're up for it, we kind of go over ultralights because I definitely have a take on that.
Okay, go for it, man. We'll go for it. After I want to yap on solo content because we haven't touched that.
Yeah, sure. We can. So with ultralights, again, feel free to come up on the stage and like ask if you have anything about it. But to start it off, from what I've seen so far, a big issue, especially in contested, is ultralights. The reason for it is that it doesn't scale. So, for example, if you get plus 30 on your ultralight to a fighter, that isn't loads. It's a lot, but a fighter already has like 100 plus agility. I am doing plus 30. It isn't an insane difference. It's good, but it's not insane. Now with a destroyer, when you have an ultralight, it's not scaled at all. and it just gives a straight plus 30, and to destroyers that is so much more valuable because that is double its agility every time. And if you have a justice, that's triple its agility. So imagine if you have a double ULC justice in contested. If you haven't used it, oh my god, it's ridiculous. And
I've seen it, yeah.
every time, if you think about it, if you click to align to a system and then you warp, that reduces how much damage you take by 3 times because of how much your agility is. Same with double ultralight. That decreases it by another double. You know, it increases it by double if you have 1. It increases you by triple if you're able to have 2 in your subsystems on a destroyer.
It's even hard
So
for fighters
I
to kill.
think-
Like, have you seen like double or not even double? I don't remember how many ULCs you can put on a consi, but it was in like the agility.
One, yeah, you can put
It's
one
one,
on a consi,
but
and I know if you had
it goes
ULC,
insane
makes
though.
them,
It goes insane. It's
it is
yeah.
it's bad. It's
With
really bad.
gimbals
That's
too.
why I use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I use it in contested a lot, because it's even though shield regens, you're good, you can still have them. With ultralight, you can leave at any time and you don't need to worry, you can watch your health less, because even if you notice you get dropped quickly, you can align so fast and warp so fast it doesn't matter. Especially when you're running as well. It should definitely be scaled. I don't think it should be completely removed because I think it's usable, but I do think it should be scaled to the point where it's like maybe 30, 20, 10, you know, for like 30 for fighters, maybe like 15 to 10 for like corvettes, like 15 for corvettes, 10 for frigates, and then like 5 for destroyers. It shouldn't be as insane as it is now, because again, 5 agility for a destroyer is still a lot for a destroyer.
Just nerf it on
However-
desis, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
why is it so
just
OP
needs to
on
be scaled.
desis? It's a fucking heavy
it needs to
desi.
be- It needs to be scaled like the rest of the like a lot of other.
It's so easy to make an
excuse.
excuse too. Like, no, this ship's too big. The hull integrity can't survive with a weak chassis. You know, you can't
I've
use
invited
it.
Coma to the stage. Let him
Again,
have a yap,
okay.
another yap about it. Right, go on, Coma.
Bro, bro,
Yeah.
I might be the reason why you see it's a nerf on fighters, bro. I am the sole reason why you see
Okay, sure.
Yeah, you are, bro.
It's not even on
Yeah,
fighters.
like a build.
it gives such an advantage when you have a high sensitivity like I do. I literally use 6k DPI on my mouse.
That is insane.
It's literally basically movement tags. I don't know how you say it. Basically, B-hop or anything movement related.
It's cracked. That's the word.
It's literally cracked. You can just do circle, to the point the opponent just gives up. You know.
It is a pain.
Yeah. So basically, I think ULC needs a slight nerf. Like,
On
bro,
everything. It needs to be scaled and a slight nerf on everything, because it is absolutely broken.
the scale needs a big nerf, because especially on destroyers, because once you put a ULC like only tier 1 or tier 2 on a logs, you basically become a fortitude, for example.
Oh,
And
I know, it's insane.
it's insane, because once you have that on your logs, no one can really chase you unless they have a horizon, which pretty much isn't really easy to chase in a ULC horizon. I have seen people use a ULC horizon to chase my Luxos, which are pretty much just they pretty much get lost after 2 warps. So the problem with ULC is that their weakness is basically short warps, because when you talk about warp pump speed, it doesn't really matter at short distances, because it only takes like 5 seconds to go onto a planet, and yeah, it completely negates the role of a horizon. It's to chase properly and to make sure they die.
Yeah, that's why
So-
I'm saying you can use anything for that now.
So basically, ULC needs a scaling nerf, and they need to scale the ULC module properly onto destroyers, because
Yeah.
because the fucking justice with double ULC, or the fucking echelon, or
Yeah,
even bulwark.
it's
Or
insane.
even-
It's insane. I know.
it's insane but cursed at the same time
We're
because
gonna
no one accepts
remove
you.
fucking
do
ULC,
that.
bro. Let's do a petition about the fucking get rid of ULC. But
No, you don't have to get rid of it. It just needs to be
Bro,
scaled. It just needs
bro,
to be scaled.
everyone complains about me being an absolute god at agility. But honestly, it's basically you basically have to just try a higher sensitivity, and I tell you, you will see a big difference because you can turn much
Oh, I know.
that's just step
quicker
one, and step
and
two is to have
faster.
a mouse mat the size of your table. But
No, there is no limit on DPI. That's the point, Rocker. You barely have to move your mouse to flick across the screen. But I know what you mean.
no,
yeah.
actually, it
There's
does
no
limit
limit
you.
on Starscape
It limits you in
DPI.
Starscape because you have a max turn rate, so it doesn't matter how high your DPI is. You still can only turn up.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
you don't
yeah.
have to, but it's still faster. I know.
Yeah, the thing is, you have the turn rates on fighters. You wanna make sure it's always at 0.9 or 1, so your turn-in performance is like at the top.
Peak, yeah.
So you can basically do whatever you want, like circles, try to dodge. So you have to play pretty much with the speed in fighters.
I
While in
would give like
destroyers,
a big rant on fighter PvP, but we do have to move on to the next thing because we're here yapping about the same thing.
Well, I do appreciate it, Comma. What we'll do is we'll go on to what Rocco wants to about solo content. I think we can cover 2 more topics before. We're already an hour 16 in, so thanks you guys for staying who have. What we'll do is we'll move on to 2 more topics after the solo content, and I think we'll end it there because I think I'll go over most of it.
Yeah.
Thanks for your contribution, Comma. You're back to the
Alright.
audience. So we'll go on to solo content.
So for the
and let
solo
Rocco speak
content,
on that.
what I want to do is I'm gonna talk about an idea that I discussed with Alpha. He's not in the fucking audience right now. And then I want you guys to think about like ideas. You can take example off me, but also just general ideas for solo content, because I think we're lacking solo content. As much as I think that the game should be revolved around factions, and initially I was just thinking, okay, fuck solo content. We don't like solo content. It's not helping the game. It's not increasing activity. My initial thought was Keith is only focusing on solo content, and that's actually what's killing the game, because there's no support for factions. And though I do think that factions need more emphasis more than solo content, I still think that the solo content is kind of boring and needs a rework. Like, think about this. We have a lot of outdated solo fucking shit. Like, drone hangars are just neglected and they're completely useless. There's no point in going to them. Battleships are too easy to cheese, so there's no even point in trying to attack them. And I honestly do think that battleships could be scaled into like a faction thing, where if they were hard to kill, but that's another topic. But the idea that we were discussing with Alpha Strike, or is it the fucking, or Alpha X Gamer, not Alpha Strike. Jesus, I don't like Alpha Strike. I just remembered that guy. But Alpha X Gamer, yeah, we were talking about like reworking the PvE and making it so that there's more stuff to do in PvE, because at the moment all you do is you kill fucking drones and pirate dens, and that's it. Drone and pirate dens, and it's like, okay, it's kind of boring. We were thinking like of ground combat inside the factories and stuff, and like you'd be able to like shoot like drone like scouts or whatever the fuck is in there, and like destroy it from the inside, and you know, like you could land in there. We were thinking like the battleship can like follow you around and stuff. And we were thinking of, yeah, like an actual mission campaign. Like, make the missions more interesting. The missions are fucking useless and boring, bro. Make it so that there's actually a reason to do missions, and make them actually, like, fun to do. Like, imagine missions board the battleship, like, and execute the fucking commander or some shit, you know? And
again, I always go over this, Rocco, when we were on that podcast with Critique. Is that we were talking about different missions, and he did actually hint that there was a plan for ground, especially with ground missions, to actually be entered. Like, for example, you'd be able to go into a station and capture stuff for Licentia and stuff like that, and get a mission done for them. And he's gone ground combat, and it, like I said, boarding ships and stuff. It was all stuff that was talked about, which I thought was really cool. Yeah, I'll let you carry on.
Well, I think the economy is fucking boring too. Like, mining is let's just say a boring thing. Okay, it's not fun to do. I think
not rewarding, not as rewarding.
I don't know how you can make it better. I don't know how you could do it, man. It's like,
well, I think Rocco, the Expanse would make a more reason to mine. You'd want to mine in core to get resources for your faction for
Like,
them
I think
to
if there's a
expand their
reason, yeah.
territory in the Expanse, bro. Come on.
I think what you need is more of a threat while you're mining or something. Like,
Yeah.
you need something to keep you on your toes, because people are just AFKing out there, bro. Nah, that shouldn't be possible.
Well, it used to not be like that with player pirates and stuff, but like imagine having like fucking pirates jump, now and again, like fucking NPC pirates.
Yeah, or imagine
jumping
imagine NPCs could just like jump in, yeah, and try and like get your ass while you're mining an asteroids. Like, oh shit, bro. Like, one reason not to go AFK. And I also think you shouldn't have to aim your fucking turrets. I think it should just auto lock on. I mean, obviously you have the manual option, but I think everything should just be autoed, so you don't have to like fucking concentrate. Like it's like that type of work. Like
Wait,
you have to concentrate,
turrets,
but
like
it's
DPS
boring.
and everything. All turrets. I just mean mining. You mean mining?
Yeah, no, for mining only, bro. Not for
Oh,
PvP.
okay, right. Well,
Yeah, no,
me
not for
then, bro.
PvP. No way, bro. No
Okay,
fucking way.
okay.
Imagine
Mining
Railguns just
only,
like,
guys,
one
clarify.
dot. But
Yeah.
the content for solo is lacking. I think we need and just think about stuff like this. I think that there should be like the bounty system should be reworked. I think that if you have a bounty that you get tracked by NPCs all the time, especially if you're in like wild or something, you can get jumped.
Pirates, yeah.
Like
pirates
imagine you have to like fight, like you have to fight like the police, Corsac police coming for you all the time and stuff. If you have a bad rep, or like even if you have a bad rep with like Forks, they're gonna come for you in a fleet, And I think that would be like a cool stuff for like the solo content. I think that stuff needs to be more divisioned out. You shouldn't be able to get all the loot from just wild. It should be like different sections, and each section of wild is a bit different and has different stuff going on and different threats. And I think that would also make it so people there's pirate hotspots out in the middle of nowhere, because like there's people need to go there for a reason.
Rates in perhaps like Vexium or Redcore in certain areas, like small areas, which would force
or even
to
like drones are found in one section and pirates are found in another section, type of thing going on. Instead of all
stuff to make something more specific to allow pirates to actually be able to track people more. Because right now you have like system probes, for example, which people can track people with, but with having it's like specifying that area. They're not great, but they're alright. It's like specifying that specific area of where if it's a high red
we need more ancient content, bro. Like what the fuck, man? All we have is those electric boys at the Exstructures or the fucking not Exstructures, the fucking
the bacon areas.
Yeah, what is that? And you have those shitty drones. Like, why don't we have fleets of those motherfuckers going around randomly that just like imagine a portal could just spawn in like a rift in time space and they'd come through to get your ass. Like that would be cool.
Star Trek, bro, just saying literally Star Trek right now.
Yeah, no, but still though, it would be cool though. And I don't know, does Kama have an idea? I think he has an idea. Yeah, do you want to let him on? I want other people's ideas too though. Be thinking about this shit, bro. Think about ideas for solo content.
Well, Koma does want to come on and speak on solo content, so I'll let him again. So good stuff.
Yeah, 4 times in a row. Let's go.
Thanks for carrying, Goma.
Yeah, bro.
Go on.
Yo, again.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, honestly, solo content should be reworked completely from the ground up, because mining is always the same thing. You can just go AFK mining with position miners, for example. Also the fact that you could just mine for days on end and then have an entire monopoly on the marketplace instantly by just selling all your shit and then placing buy orders immediately, so the price artificially inflates. Like, I think miners should get a rework or something like a slight nerf, so it doesn't.
I'd agree with that. Yukon is too OP for grinding.
Yeah, it's way too OP, and the fact that the Vesta is barely used is quite surprising, because the Vesta might be the best miner for expeditions that can go for weeks.
It's really hard to balance it out. It's like, because what happened, Kamaleka, was back in the day, before we had destroyers, before we had like even frigates, right? The mining was balanced, because you'd only be mining for like your Corvette, but because the miner was only like small, little honey badger, that's all you had. Like, it took ages, and then they added an Ozark, right? And they added like frigates and stuff.
Yukon.
And when they added the Ozark, it was like, okay, The Ozark wasn't much better than the Honey Badger. In fact, it was actually worse than the Honey Badger for a while. The Kodiak was balanced.
It still is.
The Kodiak was, it still is worse, but not with strip miners though. But the Kodiak was the only thing there then that was balanced, right? The Kodiak, it still took a long time to get like Judicator, okay, or something like that. But it didn't take it wasn't too quick at getting the smaller ships either. It's not going to be too quick to get a Corvette. But nowadays, because you have destroyer classed strip miner fucking Yukon, you can grind like 10 fucking Corvettes in no time. Like easy peasy. The problem isn't that it takes a long time to get destroyers. It's that it doesn't take any time to get the small ships, and that's a big problem with the miners.
Yeah. The same thing can be said about haulers. It's basically FO to FO. So honestly, what I would honestly do is make the hauling shit more rewarding and not like just warp around, find a WH and hope you find a FO, and then you have to go back where you came from to find the other FO you just found. And then it doesn't last as long because you have a slight nerf if you keep doing the same route again and again. It doesn't make the hauling part very fun. The same thing can be said about contested hauling. You have to do that. You have to like do almost 100 times the same route to basically make a garrison or a stronghold. But if you want to upgrade that again to max it out with how do I call it, defense platforms, it takes even longer. So I think honestly, with the player base we have right now, the game being dead and blah blah, I think the fucking you have to. I think you should hold less so you could reinforce your contested systems. Make the FO to FO hauling much interesting with much better prices. So
and make it so you can get fucked on the way. That's
so
what
it
I
doesn't.
think. There should be danger.
Yeah.
Everything should be danger, so there's a risk involved.
Yeah, and
fix the market.
Also make so Narcor is more dangerous to get. So basically, just make an anomaly with Guardians, just like the VX enorms. Also, you receive crystal shards from the guards in the VX. It's basically a collectible you can sell. It doesn't have much use. I think
we need more syndicate stuff too.
I think it should have a use for maybe a new turret like the Guardians use, like the lightning one that does huge damage it's basically a sharpnel, but basically a railgun basically. Honestly, miners should get nerfed, not nerfed fucking to the ground, just a little bit nerf, so you don't use bots or auto miners, because I have seen a lot of auto miners lately.
You know, I hate the auto miners, and I know people that run auto miner fucking things, but
I think
it should be nerfed,
like
honestly, formations, I agree completely. They need a rework. They need something. Like a story behind it.
Because there's no reason.
You ever wonder why? Oh no, wait. What are you going to say, Dragon? Go on.
With the missions right now, think about it. You can go to contested, and you can get max reputation with it.
Yeah, it's an absolute joke.
Like it's like doing missions is pointless. Just go to contested, leech some LP, and you're done. Like it doesn't take long to get max standing through contested.
I don't think it does. It's too easy.
Yeah. Honestly, they should add more tiers to Stronghold, because you could just solo a Stronghold.
Or they should make it so it's easy to lose LP. They should make it so that if you're not constantly being a grinding bastard, you lose LP. That's what they should do, and that would put more worth into the blueprints. But you ever wonder why Syndicate is like fucking neutral? Like, why are they neutral? Aren't they supposed to be like fucking like basically cocaine dealers, silver spice. I mean,
Yeah.
I think the syndicate should be based. I think by default, syndicate should be hostile, and whenever you come across syndicate, they should be in like big, powerful fleets that will fuck you up. And I think you have to do like missions to get a good reputation with them to even trade. And I think that would make stuff like Lightburners and the fucking cloaks and all the syndicate shit worth more. Even the small ones.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is with that, Rocco, is that the whole point of the syndicate is meant to be sort of like an illegal area, like
Yeah,
sort of like
bro.
a black market. So it's risky. Don't get me wrong. You should like it should be increased activity
should
when it
lose
comes to
Corsac
like
standing.
piracy. Yeah. Oh yeah. If you
Honestly,
I do agree. Yeah.
why didn't they expand yet? Like it has been the same
For real,
strip
bro.
of land
They should have like little
since
bases
ages.
around
What
randomly.
do you mean
like,
they own the whole of Wild, bro? What do you mean, bro? Think about it. They're always in Wild. They're everywhere. It's just that's where
Yeah,
they strictly are.
Yeah,
but they're
yeah,
in Wild.
in the lore, yes, but I don't see it in game. You know, if you're
That's
going to say,
really,
if you're going to say
100%.
they are roaming around the entire galaxy, I go into worlds, okay, I don't see any syndicate fleet. What the fuck are you saying, kids?
FOs. You don't see. You see
Yeah,
syndicate
yeah,
freighters now and again, though.
yeah, true. But honestly, they need freighters needs a slight buff.
like,
So
imagine
they
you go
don't.
to an NFO for the first time and it just starts
Yeah.
fucking blasting you, bro. Like, because you don't have a low rep.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I think should happen, bro. Like, oh, look, oh my god, I'm gonna do Federal Outpost or
Yeah,
whatever it's
yeah.
call fucking,
Yeah.
Holland.
When
No.
honestly, when you have bots standing with syndicate, I think you should still be able to enter station, but there will be guards trying to kill you, and you have to kill them. You know.
And then, like, just
Um,
steal the spice. No, I think, like,
Yeah.
you need to gain a reputation to do Outpost, FO, hauling. That's what I think. Like,
Yeah.
They won't even let you in the trade unless you have like a rep.
Honestly, yeah. Honestly, with the bounty right now, it's not that great. I think they should do like Arcane Odyssey. I
Bounty,
don't know
yeah,
if
you should
you
be able to
played yet.
track people if they have a high bounty.
Yeah, you should.
And it would stop all
You-
those dumb meme bounties because no one wants to lose the money. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Honestly, just change the bounty system to be like just like Arcane Odyssey, so you get actually tracked, and you have a feeling that eventually someone is going to kill you
We
because
had like an
you
idea
have
for
a
that,
high
you know.
ass and bounty.
Our idea was basically like, let's say a Corsac ship saw you and you have a bounty, then you'll get pinged on the map that everyone can see, like wherever if they're at like the base, or if a player sees you, they can report you. And yeah. And then eventually, your steps just get tracked, bro, and you just get caught in the end. And
I do agree. Instead of just straight doing it, I feel like a player can click on your name, like in the system or whatever, and report you or something.
Yeah,
that'd
bro.
be funny. That would be really cool.
And they get a
it's not
little
just
payout
you get
maybe or
tracked,
something.
if
I don't know.
like everyone gets notified.
Like
or something
Corsac
about
could
it.
say something like, "Remember to
do it
report
like
people, you know,
do
that
it
have
like the
bounties."
fucking FBI, bro.
Yeah.
If you report someone, you get Corsac standing. There, easy.
Yeah, and that.
So people will actually be looking for it. Yeah, well.
Guys,
this-
we're quite. Wait, sorry, comments, because we're quite long into this. It's an hour 30. What for right now?
Let me
so
have a
we're
look
gonna-
at. You're right.
I just want to do
135.
two more that I've got in. I think I'll sum it up. So for now, I don't have stage. Thank you though, because a lot of base points, of course, as usual. But for this next one is because I really won't have to watch this one, and I'm pretty sure that these are two topics which will be quite nice for him to hear, especially the last one, which I want to go over. But for the second to last one, I wanted to go over overall opinions for a wipe. So every single person, like apart from like Boypus, I think it was, said that they agree. Oh no, I think Boypus said yes, actually, that they agree for a full wipe. Now the thing is that we noticed that it couldn't just be wiped. Okay, they couldn't just be a straight wipe. There's a lot of things that needed to be happen. So for one, they thought that it needed to be content for the
First, we need to have a shit, you know. Otherwise, there's no point in trying to wipe.
For one, stuff needs to be fixed. Yeah, of course. The first thing is that basic like bugs like shift bug. You know, it needs for the game to be wiped. It needs to break beta.
Rails
need
to be nerfed.
Finished. It's still in beta after like 5 years, right? It needs to finish beta like it finished alpha, and then when beta's finished and it's got the basic things for a start of a really good based game, then I think then it should get wiped. However, of course, it's going to take some time. I don't think it should be instant, and it needs content with the wipe, of course. And also, no partial wipes. I agree with this, is that there couldn't be any partial wipes,
full
because
wipe.
if partial wipes happened, there'll be bugs, there'll be people trying to abuse it, people would distribute all the wealth amongst a lot of accounts, etc. And of course, it would be a risk because it would be like the majority over the minority in the sense of it being a lot of people may not like the wipe. However, I think it would be better for the majority of the player base of the game, especially newer players, to allow them to build factions and allow the big. Because of course, factions still have their community, right? To allow for them to progress faster. However, allow for newer factions to grow as well within that community.
And
without
fix the
having the whole
fucking
expanse
economy as
concept.
well. Obviously, if
And
all the
that,
fixes
yeah.
were made, then the wipe would
Yeah.
help it. Like all those gay duped credits. Now, for the record, me, Iraz, and Dragon, Iraz and I are all fucking pro wipe. And what we're gonna probably do, I think Dragon wanted to do this, is basically just we're getting every single one of you up here. Okay, so put all your motherfucking
what?
hands up, and one at a time, we're gonna ask you.
God.
We're gonna fucking ask
I didn't
you
want
your
to do
opinions on the wipe. That's what we're gonna do.
Oh, Jesus.
But we're only gonna do
We'll do
it
one at a time. We'll do one at a time.
one at a time,
Come on,
baby.
come on.
One at a time, yeah. And what we're gonna
Alright,
do
so we'll do comment first.
is no, don't do comment. Okay, fine, do
It's
it
fine.
first.
It's fine.
Yeah, alright, fine, do it first.
Okay, it's like the 10th time I'm speaking.
But we're not gonna go for
okay,
too long, right? So try and make it like brief, yeah.
Brief, very
Yeah,
brief.
okay.
I'll give you like 2 minutes, bro. Go,
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Honestly- okay.
Go.
119,
We
170.
need a wipe. We need a wipe. I actually agree. We need a wipe. Honestly, when the updates will come, I think shit should be wiped because there's already a lot of duped credits in circulation right now. Yeah. It's only a matter of time. It might be in 10 years, 5 years. We don't know what Cat will do. So I agree with the
Keep
wipe.
smoking that
They-
pipe, bro.
you-
That's what we've all been doing. Hopefully, player stations come in
need
10
a wipe.
years when we're 30. Alright.
Yeah, we only wait for one thing in its player stations. I will guarantee you 1K players every day.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, it's very good.
And they're all old as fuck, like, and then we get to call everybody a new gen, bro. Man, I played this shit when I was 12, and now I'm fucking
Before
30, bro.
stations. Before
Like-
stations.
Yeah. I was literally 13, 12 when I played this game. So yeah, I just wait for one thing. Player station.
Oh my, your minute of fame is up. So I'll get the next
Yeah,
person.
next
on
one,
there.
get
Thank you very
Foxio on.
much. Lax. Now we'll do Lax. We're going in order
Get
of
Lax
who's
to the...
done it.
Alright, get Lax.
Okay. Yeah.
Alright, go on, Lax. You're invited to speak. Go on, buddy.
Yeah.
Alright, you got
I
a minute.
100%.
Start now. Start.
I
go, go.
100% support a full wipe everything, but it needs content or it's useless. Like, if you do a full wipe, that's good, but add content with it. Just don't wipe and do nothing else.
Yeah.
Fix this first, then wipe. Fixes, then wipe. Yeah, you can't wipe and then have the
Fixes,
same issue.
fixes and then wipe with content.
Yeah.
Like the wipe needs to bring content with it.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
right.
good point. Like,
That-
drop
that's
it with
all. I
something
don't know
juicy.
what else to say.
Okay, thank you for your contribution, Lax.
Alright,
That's
get
okay.
Foxio.
Anyways,
Okay.
Foxio, you're invited up.
Yeah, please.
You have a
Well,
minute, go
I
for it.
think there is another way to, well, other than the wipe, but Kev would need to introduce a new currency and ores and items in order to make the old stuff not
That's
as
right.
impactful on the gameplay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
You
some
just
things couldn't be
basically need
removed,
to,
right?
Like,
Like
remake
ephemeral stuff.
or make an. Can you basically
ethereal, or
to,
whatever the fuck it's
remake the
called.
game in a kind of way, right? New currency.
That is smart.
to-
No, Foxio, I do agree. I'll
reduce-
stop your timer for a sec, because I do agree. Is that adding new ores would actually prevent all those auto miners over the years and years of them playing. It would prevent, like, of course they'll have the base resources, but if you added some other resource like Vexium was amazing, right? You required it to have it, but the issue is it didn't come with the bug fixes it needed. So I feel like if something like Vexium was to happen after the content was released, after a wipe, something like Vexium, but again, that's what a wipe comes with, though. It comes with the fact that people won't have all that stored resources. But like you were saying, Fox, instead of a wipe, just start it off with a new resource, because that will then help people actually, instead of people just coming on having a shit ton of resources, someone else actually have to go out and find it and start the grind again. So yeah, I think it's smart for now. I'll carry you on though. Go on, Vaxio.
I mean, I think that was a very good example you put. Yeah, Vexing was kind of the thing. But well, I don't know how we would fix the credit inflation. So
Yeah, that like, without a
I'm
wipe,
definitely
yeah.
for the wipe
Execution.
because well, the game has changed so much that I would like to experience it again. But yeah, we
No,
know
I agree,
what the
man.
controversies are.
Like the wipe,
Anyway.
my opinion on a wipe is basically when it happens, everybody will be competing again, and shit will be quite fun for a while. And as long as bunch of retarded fucking balance changes are actually made, then it won't get fucked, and the competition should remain instead of getting like on board because I have 20 destroyers.
Vaxio, thank you very much. I'll move on to the next person,
thank
final person. Just to get this over with. Alfred, come on, my lovely moderator. Come on, you.
Hello,
You've got a minute.
hello,
Right.
hello.
Go on,
Hello.
you child. Go
Come
on.
on, boy.
Say
Okay,
your
okay,
opinion.
bro. Okay, bro. Well, in
Say
my
your opinion,
opinion,
go.
I'm pro wipe due to the economics going downhill, and well, I just want new content really, and just the duping is, you know, it's just too much, man. I just really want to start over again, new Starscape, you know.
And you joined last
Mainly
week,
for
was it? I'm only joking, bro.
No, I joined like 2 years ago, so that's cool.
No, yeah, no, definitely the duplication is the biggest thing that we need to get rid of. It's,
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard. Like, there's always going to be fucking glitches with it, but at least it's a fucking step in the right direction, you know. Yeah, all right. So
Yeah.
Tor and Brink, guy, are you sure you don't want to get up? Because we're going to go on to the last topic soon. And if you don't have anything to say, fair enough. But are you sure you don't want to? Do you guys even have mics? Maybe not for the reason.
Yeah,
I
thank you.
think
Thank you very much.
Torret mentioned that he
I will
doesn't
now
have a mic.
leave the
Okay, I don't
content
have
back to the
mics.
stage.
All right. Let's get
Oh.
to this final topic then. That Dragon was going to go on, was it?
Yep. So the
Is it
final
Keith's
topic, which I
favourite?
think would be nice to chapter, because I think Kath would very much like this part.
Clip this.
I
for
will
Keith.
send this to Kath afterwards, making sure he does see it.
A short just
Now-
for him, bro.
Just for him. Now this section I feel like would be very impactful for him. I have talked to him prior to this, and he was very thankful that people have actually expanded their careers. Because the whole point which made him drop it, I think, was because he didn't want people to waste their life away on Starscape. Because COVID happened, a lot of people started to spend all their life on Starscape. Right? I don't think he was ready for that. But I do want to say is that there's over the people we've interviewed, there's been a lot of people that have actually been able to apply Starscape to real life applications. So even though it's technically season 2, I want to go over it. Is that we did an interview with Kevin, which hadly got corrupted, so I'll have to redo. But one of the things he said is that he does know people, like some of his friends, that actually have gotten jobs, but purely based off the sheets they've made for Starscape Market and how it works. Because believe it or not, the market in Starscape is very impactful to how it works. The same in real life as well. So a lot of people have been able to actually go into real life careers and professions and part-time just based off the spreadsheets, and they've been hired based off spreadsheets they've made purely off Starscape. There's been plenty of people which have learned multiple things such as like statistics, graphic design and coding, especially Iraz. Like he is a great example of this, and Rockoy has gone into marketing because of Starscape. He's learned a lot of it off of Starscape in preparation for Moneybot. Again, a little advertisement there. That Iraz has coded mostly by himself. And again, he wouldn't have started coding because money was originally used for a Starscape faction, UFAs, as I'm sure you all know. So the fact that people have been able to branch off into companies and professions and jobs, and also just learn a lot of confidence off Starscape, which I think is the main reason why Kef has stopped a lot of his development, because he doesn't feel like it's been impactful for people. But I think it's been very impactful for people to actually continue careers in online. They've grown older with Starscape, and because of that, it's allowed them to actually get into professions. So if anybody in the audience right now that actually has something to say about that, and actually has gotten a profession, or perhaps they've just learned something that's actually impacted them real life, feel free to put your hand up now, and we'll go over that for the last topic.
And while you're thinking of that, like, yeah, nah, I definitely did learn some stuff. It is kind of weird to say it, but I did get, you know, leadership skills, management skills. I understood the logistics of running an organization as a youth, like, I don't think it's a game that is obviously you can be brain dead and just do PvP, but if you're running a faction or doing something like in the game that's kind of important in comparison to, you know, just fucking around, goofing around, you can learn stuff, and it does teach you some basic traits that you can like build on then later on. Like when I was running UFRs at its peak, I had people hosting every single day. I had them on like automated fucking schedules and a manager making sure that they stuck to them. And I had like the shit being taxed by other people, being put into other fucking alts that I could access later. And I had a fully automatic, just making profit. Like I didn't even have to step in, bro. That's how good it was. And we had all other types of shit going on with like our insurance schemes and our other shit. We were building onto it, and we understood. We learned networking from like talking with different organizations and factions, and we learned like advertising and editing skills. And obviously I got better at sales, but that was mostly through money after, which money was originally made as a point bot to keep track of our ranks in
verification
and verification. Right, we had point tracker before money. That's right. And we used money for verification, Roblox fucking Discord verification with extra steps basically. But then we expanded on that, and expanding on that is what allowed us to gain way more skills, like serious skills in business. And I got better at programming. I was a complete ass before then. I'm not a god, like I'm not Iraz tier, but he's a fucking god at programming. But I got better at programming from doing that, and obviously I learned sales, marketing, editing way more. There's so much shit. So if any of you guys in the audience actually learn shit from fucking, like, I'm way more fucking enthusiastic than I was when I was 12. Believe it or not, man, when I was a kid, I was an introvert. Now I'm not. I'm not fucking even close an introvert. I'm a fucking extrovert, man. Okay?
And I like Foxy to speak about his experience.
I'm just gonna say that I learned a lot about writing in English just by making suggestions for Starscape. That's my favorite thing to do. And yeah, I checked it a lot, and but it was it became very much easier over time when I just wanted to make it too. I had a big problem with English back in the day. I was very shy, and I wasn't having very good grades, but yeah, Starscape really made me a bit more profound. That now I'm like one of the best in my friends club. The only thing that's left is the voice, the talking, right? But I'm perfecting it now.
Yeah, I can understand you completely fine. Yeah, it is definitely good to know that people have actually come to Starscape, and even though it's been a lot of slang and a lot of like random stuff that people have said, you can definitely learn a lot in English just from like partaking in the game. And I feel like
Iraz did, that's the thing. Iraz definitely improved in his English running UFRs. I think he can attest.
There's a lot of games that don't do the same thing. Like Starscape has a community around it, which in general is quite hard to develop. It's not in many games like having a community. A lot of it's sort of like you play the game, that's it. You're not going to learn anything from that. So having to be able to constantly interact with people and
Starscape is the community basically. Like without the community, Starscape would be incredibly dry. Drier than this podcast. So
No, it's not that reference again. Does anyone else come up before we do end it there? So, and again, if you guys, we'll do it at the end. But if you guys want to continue with doing these things, we might start doing it more consistently, like non-recorded sessions or maybe recorded, and we'll just do debates of people, like a couple people coming on, having talks about Starscape issues, stuff like that, anything to do with Starscape. I'm
getting on
any controversial opinions. Yeah, we'll get someone to organise that.
Alright, here's the 9th time. You get to talk about what you learned.
Okay, I learned. I quite learned a lot with Starscape. So I learned a lot of English words and how to actually try and have a less French accent. Because I was in a lot of battles, and I tried to have a less French accent. I think it's quite better now. I learned also quite a few things in economy, basically inflation, hyperinflation, artificial inflation, and all of that. Um, I it's quite helped me do some presentations in real life as well for a job and also at school. So I think Starscape can help you uh, can help you do a lot more. It helps on very different aspects on your life,
Like
and yeah.
people have ran news organizations on Starscape, but they're literally making these fucking little cool newspaper things and all. Like, that's all good graphic design skills. That's all fucking cool shit that they're learning.
Yeah.
That helps them out. Like,
Especially in CSA right now, the way they do it.
I even became a journalist. I literally carried corporation for days on end.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah,
Alright,
that's
I will-
definitely how to lay it out, especially in corporation. Like in the way it lays out its news reports, the way it lays out its
it's
battle
really
reports,
good. No, it's fucking good, man. And the way they do the ads and all, it's good. It's
yeah,
quite
the way
good.
they do the
Like,
advertisements and
if it was
everything.
real money, bro, that would all be like quite. That would be real, man. That would be professional shit. So
Yeah, like
you know, it's done
corporation have
good.
made their player base, and now people are willing to invest their own credits into it, for example, to try and publicize more on it for the factions, for their corporations, you know. And the fact that they've been able to manage that and organize that and have spreadsheets for it is already the way you can apply that into real life business and marketing, which I feel like is such a big thing. Then like, I want, especially Kev, to know is that people haven't just wasted their life away in this game. Some people have actually learned real life trades. Some people, of course, play the game and it's fun. There's nothing wrong with that. But the people that have actually gone into, especially the marketing side of Starscape, it's such a big thing for people to learn and develop a trade off of it, which I think it's been easier,
Yeah, no,
especially
for
like
sure.
with me. I've been able to organize and manage the development teams. Just basically, just the fact that Starscape has kept me engaged into Roblox for me to start to realize that Roblox has actually got a lot of potential for business opportunities. But again, I wouldn't have done that without Starscape, because without Starscape, I would not be playing Roblox right now. It's a lot of things that just lead up to it, all the little things that even if Starscape hasn't fully done it, it's helped you progress into the right direction.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do appreciate your input there, Coma. And again, you're getting there, bro. You'll eventually get there. No French accent, believe me.
Yeah,
Bro. The more you talk to
you'll get there eventually, bro. No, I do think Starscape
Yeah.
teaches you about more like sort of basic things too, like about people. I learned a lot about people and their fucking egos, and I actually learned about controlling and not having an ego from fucking Starscape. Because I tell you what, there's no game that makes you more mad than when you're running a fleet, yeah, and you lose and to not get mad. That's hard, bro.
Yeah.
And they're dissing you on the news
Yeah.
and shit. So, you know, definitely
And-
learn people skills and how people work.
Yeah. On the other hand, like even running a faction teaches you a lot of people skills. You need to learn how to get people to do things. Nobody in Starscape is usually being paid in a faction. I think in UFERS we had a rare exception to this rule where spy checking people were paid to do spy checking. They were paid in credits, of course, but even those people probably would have done it for free. But to get young people to work for a faction for free takes some level of management skills that you just need to learn at that point. You need to
You need to
figure
be
out
good
how
at
do you
like being
get
a
these
slave.
people working.
Like, I honestly think I was so good at it, I might just go to Africa and start like getting some kids to mine some diamonds. Cause, I don't know. Like, I think I'd be good at it, you know.
I think the very last thing I would say on this topic is that I also think, besides all the careers and stuff, it's also allows, which I know it's a bit of a niche thing, right? But I still want to get it out there. Is that I especially have made a lot of friends just through Starscape, which, of course, right, I'm not complete loner, right? I don't like stay my life on Starscape. I have friends outside of it. But I think being able to, for example, do this with Rocco and Iraz just shows that people have been able to learn it. I mean, I've got friends which are, you know, I've shared like my name with, you know, they've even seen my face before, but it's like there's people that I've met from Starscape which I still talk to now, which I find absolutely crazy. You learn that people, you know, are sometimes quite local to you and stuff, and like it's just people that you wouldn't expect, which you also again learned to like to be friends with them. You might play other games with them outside of Starscape. It's again having friends, like, especially if you have difficulty and struggling with real life communication and talking to people outside of a game. I think Starscape has that community which allows people, especially with the faction concept, it allows people to know each other. It allows people to play games with each other. You know, you might start literally with a mining trip, right? You go out mining with a faction member. You might chat with them in VC. They might be really chill. You might play other games with them, and it might branch out further than that. You get to know them more personally, real life. I don't even mean a relationship way. I just mean like just having a friend. Like, because a lot of people struggle with that, especially in real life, like hiding behind like faces and hiding behind voices and stuff. So I feel like Starscape with its community has allowed people to definitely have a lot of friendships within it.
The only
Yeah.
bad
Well,
thing to come from
absolutely.
Starscape, in my opinion, is the Faralkan server. So yeah, I think we're good apart from that.
The Railguns server, that is a different story. Well,
Yeah,
That's
let's not
for
go
another
there.
video, you
Let's
know.
not go there.
Or whatever, another
Yeah.
podcast.
But yeah,
I'm just gonna add
all you guys
what
joining, but I'll
I
let
can
you
say
join
about the friendships you can make. I met Rök in Starscape, and we now own a company together, so you can get absolutely close by running an organization in Starscape and just hanging out with people.
You also get a lot of beef, bro. I'll tell you. Like, a lot of people fucking
A
hate
lot
me
of
from
beef.
this game, bro.
guys.
I think
Rök,
everyone
that's
in
just
this
because you
audience,
were
bro.
an asshole.
No, I wasn't. Okay, yes, I was.
At least someone said it.
I'm just gonna admit it, bro. I was a dick.
But
On
But yeah,
purpose.
but yeah, I mean, I think it's been a while. Like, we've been doing this podcast for a while. Again, like I was saying before, I do appreciate all of you that have done it. We're just under an hour, so I want to end it quickly. Because if it gets over 2 hours, sorry, just under 2 hours. So thanks, guys, for sticking there. Go on, Lax, final thing. You got like 2 minutes, bro. Go. Final thing.
No, it's just one phrase. One thing that Starscape taught me is to not trust girls online. They are never girls.
Okay,
You
right,
mean,
yeah, well,
yeah, okay, bro. Is that staying in the podcast? I think so, just for the memes. That's going on a short, bro. You're getting famous. All right.
yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. Hopefully, Gav sees this, and hopefully, Gav realizes that Starscape is more than just a game.
It's not
So, yeah,
try.
thank you very much for tuning in. I
Yes.
appreciate everything. Let me on. No, it's too late. That's Spider. You have no mic, bro. Why do you want to come on? Anyways, bye.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for joining.
See you guys. We
you.
clapped with this yap.
Thank you.